introduce. Of course, we've been working with each other, but okay. Um, I suggest going to the website, 7ray.net or 7ray.org, to see the complete uh, biographies and various accomplishments of the people who are going to be presenting. It is now the turn of Antonella Nobilio, and I'll just read just a little bit from her presentation, her biography on the main page. In living symbols, man is the square in form, crucified between heaven and earth, spirit and matter, and rises as a five-pointed star to express Sophia, the wisdom of the service of love. And that's going to be the title of her talk, the Sophia of the divine human being. And I just have to say about Antonella that we're so grateful that she's been with us now for a few years. She, she has a luminous mind and a great big heart, and uh, combining those two things, you can't go wrong. So read up about Antonella. I don't want to take any time away from her, and I just want to say we're so grateful to have you with us, Antonella. It's your turn. Okay.
Thank you, Michael. It's my pleasure, honor, and joy to work together for the one service. Okay, I share my screen. Okay. Okay, let's dive into the magic art and scientific art of Sophia. As we have seen at the pre-conference, Sophia is a Greek term which means wisdom, knowledge. The root is sap, connected to the idea of juice, flavor, sense, savor, awareness. In the Theosophical Glossary of Madame Blavatsky, is defined as Sophia wisdom, the female logos of the Gnostics, the universal mind. For others, the female Holy Spirit. And I was observing that today I am the only female presenter. We have 5 presenters and 4 masculine. So good for us, good for me. In the Agni Yoga teaching, Sophia is mentioned as follows. Calling it psychic energy, we speak of the Sophia of the Hellenic world or Sarasvati of the Hindus. The Holy Ghost of the Christians manifests signs of psychic energy, just as do the creative Adonai of Israel and Mithra of Persia, who is full of solar power. Certainly no one doubts that the fire of Zoroaster is the fire of space. Psychic energy is both fire and materia matrix. So today we intend to present the divine wisdom Sophia as the golden relationship between the fire of spirit, first aspect, and the fire of substance, third aspect, as the consciousness of space, light. In the astrological key to the mysteries, we can identify Sophia with Venus, as we have heard in all these days, as star of 5 and lady or lord of the golden proportion. Venus, consort of Vulcan, the lord of fire and heart of the sun, is the lord or lady of the 5th manasic plane of Agni, as we have heard. Solar fire and of the will to express, to manifest form, the 5th Shakti or force associated with the fifth creative hierarchy. Venus' fifth ray is the logos of the intellect of love that unites in a golden way the earth to the sun, the personality to the human soul, Venus, and then to the spiritual soul, Mercury, intelligence to love, wisdom, manas to buddhi. Likewise, at the higher atomic level of the Holy Spirit or universal mind, Sophia, the third ray, Saturn, the spiritual will of the solar mind or architect of Venus manifestation work, sets the relationship between the 7 planetary schemes or solar centers and the 3 of synthesis, who are the very vehicle of the solar monad or logos. So in the process of treading that path of initiation and of achieving the goal, man is resolved into the 5-pointed star, finally into the triangle of spirit. So Venus is the alter ego of our Earth, is our solar angel, analogous to Sirius, Isis, the cosmic angel or soul of our sun, the blazing star of sensitivity and star of initiation, the fiery bridge to its cosmic consort, Orion Osiris, our alleged great cosmic monad. So in analogic proportions, Osiris is to Isis and Horus, as Orion is to Sirius and the solar logos, as Sun is to Venus and Earth, as monad is to soul and personality. So here in the picture, you can see a hypothesis of the trajectory for our cosmic ecliptic or the alleged orbital plane for the 7 solar systems, of which ours is one. Okay, so forget not that relating our planet to the planet Venus is a planetary antakarana, passing from thence to the heart of the sun and later to the cosmic mental plane. There are rainbow bridges carrying the 7-fold energies of the 7 rays from planet to planet, from system to system, and from plane to plane on cosmic levels. It's over these bridges that the will of the relative spiritual identities is projected, producing that synthesis of effort which is distinctive of the cooperative systemic life. The work of the masters in training from our planet is, among other things, to unfold within themselves not only sensitivity to systemic purpose, but the ability to transmit that purpose to the council chamber at Shambhala. They have, in an extraplanetary sense, a definite correspondence with and relation to the group of Nirmanakayas within our planet, who work in contemplative activity with the Antakarana, which connects the hierarchy with Shambhala and humanity with the hierarchy through the new group of world servers, us, the planetary Ajna Center. So let us therefore think that of the divine function of the 4th human hierarchy, ruled by the 4th ray of Mercury as pontiff, builder of bridges between the worlds, between the 3rd and 5th level, between the spiritual will of the Father Spirit and the fiery substance of the mind mother matrix, and the other way around. In the esoteric teaching, in fact, the human being is indicated as a stellar, solar, and planetary unit, as a unit of measure at the center between heaven and earth, between supermundane causes or paths and formal events and effects, as the first kingdom able to consciously co-create together with the celestial logoi builders, as an agent of harmonic connection between spirit and matter through the Sophia of consciousness, the wisdom of love, buddhi manas, the golden fruit of the relationship with spirit, matter. The 4th human kingdom is the first from below that can understand and express consciously or voluntarily the universal beauty and its laws. How? Through the laws of correspondence and analogy of the abstract thought, the higher manas, as analogia or symmetria, which means proportion, commeasurement, is the fairest of bonds, as Plato said, the one of the evolution of consciousness towards the ever more perfect symmetry between spirit and substance, to their golden proportion, to the beauty of being. In the concept of symmetria analogia, beauty is involved, understood as agreement among the parties, similarity, equality of relationships, harmony with the rational principle. Between proportion, symmetry, and beauty, there is a virtuous circle dominated by the unifying role of analogia, which means again proportion, commeasurement. So now I wanted to show you a footage from Donald Duck in the Word on Math Magic.
The shadow black color. I'll be a postgraduate.
It was our old friend Pythagoras who discovered that the pentagram was full of mathemagic. The two shorter lines combined exactly equal the third. And this line shows the magic proportions of the famous golden section. The second and third lines exactly equal the fourth. Once again, we have the golden section. But this is only the beginning. Hidden within the pentagram is a secret for creating a golden rectangle, which the Greeks admired for its beautiful proportions and magic qualities. The star contains the golden rectangle many times over. It's a most remarkable shape. It can mathematically reproduce itself indefinitely. All these rectangles have exactly the same proportions. This figure also contains a magic spiral that repeats the proportions of the golden section into infinity. To the Greeks, the golden rectangle represented a mathematical law of beauty. We find it in their classical architecture. The Parthenon, perhaps one of the most famous of early Greek buildings, contains many golden rectangles. These same golden proportions are also found in their sculpture. In the centuries that followed, the golden rectangle dominated the idea of beauty in architecture throughout the Western world. The Cathedral of Notre Dame is an outstanding example. The Renaissance painters knew this secret well. Today, the golden rectangle is very much a part of our modern world. Modern painters have rediscovered the magic of these proportions. Indeed, this ideal proportion is to be found in life itself.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. This is mathematics. I got mathematical figures like that.
Donald.
Get me to it.
No, no,
Ideal proportion.
not quite. No, I'm afraid not. Well, we can't all be mathematically perfect.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, I do like to do it.
Now that you're all pent up in a pentagon, let's see how nature uses this same mathematical form. The petunia. The star jasmine. The starfish. The wax flower. There are literally thousands of members in good standing in nature's Pythagorean Society of the Star. All nature's works have a mathematical logic, and her patterns are limitless. The magic proportions of the golden section are often found in the spirals of nature's designs. The profusion of mathematical forms brings to mind the words of Pythagoras. Everything is arranged according to number and mathematical shape. Yes, there is mathematics in music, in art, in just about everything. And as the Greeks had guessed, the rules are always the same.
So this fairest of bonds in man is the Antakarana bridge between human personality and soul, between the analytical capacity of the concrete or lower mind, manas, and the synthetic one of the higher manas or abstract mind, vehicle of buddhi. We could say that these unifying laws are children of the fourth and fifth rays, buddhimanas, of the divine hermaphrodites, Mercury and Venus. Venus, the star of fire and of creation, marries the models or archetypes of the Magister Musicae, Mercury, the master of the music of the spheres, reflected from and by the Buddhic world of ideas, and veils them with fiery substance, spreading the richness of manifestation and of the many. Symmetrically, Venus relates and commensurates them by unifying what is similar or constant between the various forms or levels. According to analogia, analogous means similarity of principle, equality of relationship towards the golden essence of any relationship. In living symbols, man is the square in form, crucified between heaven and earth, spirit and matter, and rises as a five-pointed star to express Sophia, the golden ratio, Phi, the wisdom at the service of love. This is the golden ratio between human personality and soul, Earth and Venus, which resolves the dualism of the one and the many through the fairest of bonds, the most beautiful of all bonds. The supreme proportion between the fifth spiritual kingdom and the fourth human kingdom, mirroring the one between the fourth and fifth hierarchies of solar creative lives, frees the power of fire to unite being and becoming through the divine Sophia of beauty, goodness, and truth. So here is a wonderful, important quote from Rays and Initiations. Beauty, goodness, and wisdom are not qualities, as their inadequate nomenclature would imply, but are great facts in manifestation. They are not descriptive of deity, but are the names of lives, of a potency and activity of which man can as yet know nothing. The symbol or first expression of this, for all in the three words is but the symbol of an inner reality, is the driving urge to betterment, which is the outstanding characteristic of the human animal. So the golden proportion 0.618 is to 1, as 1 is to 1.618, is that relationship of relationships that sets the one in relation with itself. This is very important. Are the only numbers which can do this. And the parts in relation with each other so that unity is reconstituted. But it is not possible that two things alone should be conjoined without a third, for there must be some intermediary bond to connect the two. And the fairest of bonds is that which most perfectly unites into one, both itself and the things which it binds together. And to effect this in the fairest manner is the natural property of proportion, analogia. The golden analogy is that super fusion and unity among the parties towards the identity between the many and the one, between becoming and being. Mercury and Venus, buddhi manas, love, wisdom, between earth and sun volcan, lead us to the golden Sophia of consciousness, to unite form and idea through formulas or analogic systemic relationships in beauty and unity, as beauty is the sign of union. It is beautiful that which is whole around the center, and the human being in the center as a symmetrical partition of the one, with his mind held steady in the light of love, Venus, Mercury, is called to commensurate, to commeasure above and below. The human kingdom, fourth ray as soul and fifth as personality, is called to express the golden harmony between opposites and among parts through an integrated system of relationships, a system of analogies and correspondences that is able to reflect the simple complexity and the infinite symmetries of the celestial order, beauty between being and becoming. Let's repeat it. It is the golden vibration of abstract thought, Venus in relation to Mercury, which correlates by analogy all the things or entities of space and connects and proportions them by qualitative affinity beyond their dimensional or quantitative differences and distances. We have heard also from the previous wonderful presentation. Venus, fifth ray, the systemic Isis or Sirius, the solar angel of the earth, is that light-bearing intellect of love, intellectus amoris, and Lucifer, which leads us to the central sun. Venus builds the Antakarana bridge first between the lower mind of personality, Kamamanas, and the egoic lotus, and then directly between these 2 points and the spiritual triad through the manasic permanent atom connected to the other 2 permanent buddhic and atmic atoms. In Shambhala, the solar government of the earth, other golden units build similar connections. The function of the registrants of the purpose is to keep the channel open between our earth, the planet Venus, and the central spiritual sign. While the function of the custodians of the will is to relate the council, the hierarchy and humanity, thus creating a basic triangle of force between the three major centers of the planetary life. This is the higher expression symbolic of the six-pointed star formed of two interlaced triangles. And here is a great hint of that six-ray higher function of Venus beyond her soul fifth ray. So the group which functions midway between the Earth and Venus have all taken the 8th and 9th initiations. Again, in analogic proportions, monad is to central spiritual sun and Shambhala, as soul is to Venus with Vulcan heart of the sun and hierarchy, as personality is to Earth with the physical sun and humanity. The fifth creative hierarchy of Venus, the star of the initiate and hierarchical ruler of Capricorn, as well as of the fifth manasic plane, is the fiery force or will of the mind to manifest, directly connected to the first creative hierarchy of the divine, tawny orange flames associated with the Earth consort Sun Vulcan and the solar sign par excellence, Leo. At the heliocentric level, if the Earth sees the Sun in Capricorn, as for example at the December solstice, after a revolution of Venus of 225 Earth days, she will be in the same point of the zodiac, while the Sun will be in Leo 8 signs later, a sign associated at the cosmic level to Sirius, the cosmic Venus. So we have that the cycle or breath of the planet Venus correlates Capricorn and Leo months and signs, the fifth and first hierarchies. The fifth pointed star, Venus, is connected to the 5 Kumaras and their 5 unmanifest hierarchies, who carry out the will or desire of the solar logos to manifest under the guidance of his Isis or solar angel Sirius. In short, the one expresses the will to manifest itself through the fire agony of the 5, the star of creation. Such is the law or Sophia of the solar mind. Venus teaches the earth and humanity to think by love and love intelligently. Under the numerical key, 5 is equal to 2 plus 3. The Sophia or wisdom is equal to love plus light. And she does that according to the golden law of analogy and of its celestial rhythm. The periods, as we said, of revolution of Earth and Venus are in golden section. The bodies of expression or planets, Earth and Venus, join or unify in the name of the central sun 5 times every 8 years, which correspond to 13 years or revolutions of Venus. 5, 8, 13, numbers that are part of the wonderful numerical series of Fibonacci. In this series, each element is identified by the sum of the 2 previous elements. Furthermore, in it, the rational relationships or fractions between successive numbers dance, the second row, alternately round upwards or downwards the infinite number of the golden section, the 3rd row. So you can see in the 3rd row that the decimal values of the fractions tend to the rational value of the golden section, while the rational 0.625 is a rational fraction and is called the gold number. So in Book 7 of the Republic by Plato, where the famous image of the cave is found, the ascent from doxa, opinion, towards episteme, knowledge, and from eikasia, imagination, towards noesis, intellection, and the subsequent descent to the state government are described as a training that requires the science of number, plane geometry, astronomy, and the science of harmony, that is, music intended as science of numerical relationships. The science of harmonics is inextricably linked in the quadrivium to the other three disciplines. In Plato's perspective, they must all be cultivated in the abstract. In the website, The Planetary System, you find a compendium of this harmonic science connected to the seven rays teachings. The quadrivium translates a combination of at least three of the keys to the mysteries indicated in the teachings. The seven keys open the mysteries, past and future, of the seven great root races and of the seven kalpas. Every occult book, symbol, and allegory can be subjected to seven interpretations. There are three locks to be opened, seven keys. Every book can be read exoterically, subjectively, and spiritually. All the keys are not yet available. There is the physiological key, the psychological, the astrological, and the metaphysical. The fifth key is the geometrical. And Venus is precisely the key element for researching the mystery of Sophia, according to the astrological key of the science of spatial relations, the greatest among the sciences for the Tibetan master, and indicated as the basis of the next teaching dispensation. In this sense, in esoteric astrology, it is stated that cosmic energy uses the cardinal cross to enter the solar system by passing through the rulers of the four creative hierarchies of initiates of the four cardinal signs, the three schemes of the synthesis: Uranus for Aries, Neptune for Cancer, and Saturn for Libra, and then Venus for Capricorn. Venus conveys the cosmic wheel of manifestation through the fire of Manas. The star of five descends on the head of the initiate, or vice versa. It ascends like fire and leads us to the initiatory summit of Capricorn, to the cardinal cross of the master. The five-pointed star at the initiation on the mental plane flashes out above the head of the initiate. This concerns the first three initiations, which are undergone in the causal vehicle. And at the fifth initiation, the initiate becomes the five-pointed star, and it descends upon him, merges in him, and he is seen at its very center. At our level, the Sophia of the five, Manas as vehicle of Buddhi, the wisdom of the divine Manasaputra, manifests the fire of spirit into substance, manifests the three of the higher triangle as a five-pointed star of creation. And since the causal bodies and the egoic lotuses of the solar logos himself and of its luminaries, or his centers, are attested on the fifth cosmic manasic plane, fire is indeed the materia matrix of the solar will to manifestation. Fire is the substance or basic element of creation. It is life that generates and multiplies itself, perfectly representing or revealing its infinite reproducibility or distribution. The flame of a candle can light countless other candles, as well as its all-pervading nature and therefore omnipresence. Fire is spirit, creator and destroyer, and its key word is precisely relationship. Of air element is expansion, of water is synthesis, and of earth is contact. Fire is that which relates or brings together, being in everything and between everything. Thought is fire, which fertilizes the solar substance, equally fiery, to extract its essence, or Sophia. Psychic energy or fiery thought is the spatial wisdom. Acquiring the wisdom of spatial fires is an art. It is the path of initiation prescribed by the fiery relationship between the planetary logoi of Venus and Earth. In synthesis, fiery thinking, the basis of intuition, is the very legacy of the human spirit, issued by that level of spatial vibration of higher manas of the human soul, or higher consciousness, or solar angel, or Venus. Although in the world, the moments in which angels walk among men, that is within us, seem rare, the fact remains that nobility of spirit, heroism, strenuous effort, and greatness in all its aspects have always provided the true support and motor of the culture of the planet. Virtue and knowledge, not the superficiality, the ordinariness, or the conventions of the multitudes. It is the Sophia of thinking, the wise implementation of cosmic ideas to move the world. And here is a wonderful quote. We are almost at the end. That a situation is without solution is only imagined by those who would rely on other people rather than upon the power of their own thought. Grief experienced by others flows like the ripples of a stream, but the images of truth, which you call ideas, rule the karma of the world. It is astonishing to see how images of truth participate in the spatial battle. While the multitudes disintegrate in a blind fury of ignorance and betrayal, the thoughts of truth weave their heavenly nests, which for real evolution are far more vital than any worship by entire nations. Each teacher of life bases his power only upon images of truth and creates the future by his thought, not by the consciousness of the crowd. The ashes of past fires may dim the vision, but the fires of new images of truth glow in the infinite. When we have transcended the narrow boundaries of ethnicity and nationality, is it not all the same to us which planet is nurtured by spatial thought? The only important thing is that the thought be filled with the realization of the common good. Then the cross currents of nations will not distract the eye that is directed toward the inevitable evolution. Reverence for the dwelling place of the teacher shouldn't be reverence for the soil or for temple rituals, but for the igniting of justice in space. And we end with this end of this wonderful initiatory cartoon.
The mind knows no limits when used properly. Think of a pentagram, Donald. Now put another inside, a third, and a fourth. No pencil is sharp enough to draw as fine as you can think, and no paper large enough to hold your imagination. In fact, it is only in the mind that we can conceive infinity. Mathematical thinking has opened the doors to the exciting adventures of science.
I'll be darn good. I'm gonna teach you sure.
Each discovery leads to many others. An endless chain.
What's the matter with these doors? Hey! These doors won't open. They're locked.
Of course they are locked. These are the doors of the future. And the key is...
Mathematics.
right. Mathematics. The boundless treasures of science are locked behind those doors. In time, they will be opened by the curious and inquiring minds of future generations. In the words of Galileo, mathematics is the alphabet with which God has written the universe.
And so we had also the final, the end.
Thank you so much, Antonella.
I recommend
Excellent.
all the cartoon if you haven't seen it. Because
Yes,
it's super one.
it lightens things up, you know, and allows so much to come in. Great, thank you so much. Now, let's see, taking a look here, we have 7:25, so we're good. We have maybe time for just a couple of comments, if there are any. If you would, if there's any statement, BL, just a few minutes, that's all.
Okay, there were a couple of comments, a lot of thank you, bravissimo. I'm probably saying that wrong. I'm sorry.
Bravissima in
There we
Italian.
go.
Bravissima,
There we go.
yeah.
There we go.
With the vocal very open. Bravissima.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't use my hands. Let me try
No,
it again.
no, sorry. Just
Maya says the new group of world servers is the bridge between hierarchy and the diva and human and lower kingdoms, the fourth and the fifth rays and kingdoms. We leave the Father's house only to return on a higher turn of the spiral, back and forth for eternity.
Okay. And we're just about there, BL, so
Okay, one more from Robin. She says 0.625 is the 5 to 8 from the orbit pattern.
and is a rational number. Is people think that is the section, the golden section, but is not. Is the approximation, rational approximation, but the golden proportion, the golden section, is a transcendent or infinite number. So and you have the geometry of the 5-point star, which expresses this mystery of an infinite relationship between two numbers, not two numbers, but yeah. And so it's a great mystery to unite being and becoming through this number. And also the pi Grec is another transcendent numbers, which in the words of Italian disciple Savorini, the pi Grec curves the straight lines and transforms the curves into straight lines. So it's like the circumference and the diameter is that relationship. So it's really between straight line and curves. And again, so in numbers, this numerical key to approach the mysteries is one of, with the astrological knowledge and all the 5 keys which are active now for Blavatsky and decay.
you know, Antonella, your biography or some of the data about you says you work with a third ray group. I wonder if people, I wonder if just a little bit, if people can sense. Yes, okay. Well, we certainly sense it. Thank you so much for your beautiful presentation. Thank you.
Okay.